Okay, I want to answer Pearl's question, and I have a link to her video in the comments, or in the description, rather, and you can just watch her video, and then you can come back to this if you want to. Okay, so I'm going to begin with a few premises. The first premise I have is that the material world is a lower vibration of a more transcendent spiritual reality. And we're here for whatever reason we're here. And the goal of life is to get out of it, to ascend. In this world, the material world is morally neutral, right? We have to do things to survive. You know, we have to grow crops and we have to work jobs and do all this stuff. And you can do it honestly, meaning that your yes means yes, your no means no, right? That you're trustworthy, to use fair weights and measures. Like, basically, that you're trusted that you're doing business honestly, right? And I wouldn't call that virtuous. That's like moral neutrality. Where if you did work dishonestly and got caught, then obviously people won't do business with you. So, but there is an incentive to do work dishonestly if you can, in order to get an advantage, right? You know, if you delivered cordwood, if you delivered slightly less than a cord, and you do that enough times, you get an extra cord. And if you do that enough times, then you make a lot more money than you did before, right? You have a disadvantage. You have an advantage over anyone else who delivers firewood. We can talk about like the romantic reality where, yeah, you have women can pretty much sleep with anyone they want, and then the most attractive men sleep with anyone they want, and there is like secondary and tertiary, even quaternary negative consequences of screwing around. And but if you're really attractive, you can get away with that, right? It is something you can do. So in this world where bad behavior is rewarded, then people will only be good when they choose to be good. Now, the wicked can use the good behavior as a front, right? You could do good things in a Machiavellian effort to achieve even greater evil. No, you for example, let's say you run the local power company, you have a geographic monopoly, and you could gouge the ever-loving crap out of the people dependent on electricity, but then like, hey, we donated, $10,000 to the whatever, National Arbor Day Foundation or whatever, and great, you planted some trees, which is a good thing. It improved your image, but in the end, you're still like grinding the life out of the population that just needs basic electricity for their stuff, right? So you can do good things while in pursuit of greater evil. Even the state, which like in Christian faith, Romans 13, that God institutes governments to punish the wicked and to reward the good. The government doesn't reward the good, and the only wicked who get punished are the small-time, short-sighted wicked who might interfere with the long-term, more pervasive Machiavellian designs of the smarter, more creative wicked people. Using the electric company example again, if someone, small-time criminals were siphoning electricity off of the lines and charging batteries with it, or selling, whatever, electrical hookups to people at a discount, the police will go and stop that so that the greater evil of gouging the life out of people can proceed. We see the very rich and powerful get away with all kinds of hideous forms of child abuse, and so the small-time impoverished child abusers, they get punished, and then we tighten up the laws, we increase the penalties, and we're being even harder on the people we're already catching, while the people who get away with it already continue to get away with it. Right? We have misdirected rage. So the state doesn't really restrain evil. We have every incentive to be self-destructive, to exploit others. You do work honestly if you have to, but dishonestly if you can. And that means the only people who are going to do good things are those who actually seek after righteousness, who genuinely seek after righteousness, not just performatively to achieve some greater evil end. but they want to ascend spiritually. You see an elderly person trying to cross the street and a bus is speeding along, and you pull them out of the way, and they're thankful and they insist on giving you $20 or whatever, or buying you lunch or whatnot, and you're like, no, you don't have to do that. They insist on it. Okay, you might allow the gratuity. Okay, you can allow the gratuity, but you're not doing it for the gratuity. You did it because it was right. Or maybe, you run a small business. Let's say you run a pest control company and you find out that all your technicians have been lying to the customers. All your technicians have been lying to the customers and not actually treating the bug problems. They're just showing up, and then leaving a bill without doing any work. And then you're like, oh, what do I do? I'm like, well, you either let it ride and then just punish your people. You don't do that again or you're going to get fired, right? Or you actually go all the way and tell your customers, I employ a bunch of shitbags. They haven't been doing the work. That's the reality. Let me refund your money. Let me hire new technicians to serve you. We'll do whatever. That might crash your company, right? That might ruin your company completely by admitting that you had a bunch of shitbags doing the work for you and you weren't keeping good enough eye on them. But you might choose to do it anyways because it's the right thing to do. Quite often the right thing to do is economically suboptimal. And some might say you can have a Machiavellian approach to good, that by not telling the customers you've been fucking them over, then you can just, clean house internally and overall improve service, including the actual honesty of the service being done, right? You could, but you could sweep the evils under the carpet, so to speak, right? And not talk about it ever again. But probably the right thing to do is to say, guess what? My people have been fucking you over and I just found out. I fired everyone. I'm trying to hire new people. I hope that you can forgive me. I hope that you can accept me reimbursing you for the money spent. And, but it might crash your company, right? So doing the right thing is sometimes economically suboptimal. It has to be that way. People have to choose to do good, even if it means they take a loss themselves, even if it means they lose. And I think of my own life, how many moral compromises I made just so I could keep making money. And I've had too many. You can't serve God and mammon. That's just fucking true. If you have any conscience at all, it'll rip you apart. It'll rip your fucking heart out. It should rip your heart out, because if you truly, if you have the potential to be better, to ascend spiritually, then it's gonna hurt you, right? It's gonna hurt you if you do something dishonest. It's gonna hurt you if you do something wrong. It's gonna trouble your conscience, because you still have something left to work with. Well, a lot of people don't have a conscience. Life is just about incentives. What can I get away with? And some people are like, well, I do more good than bad, so just keep doing what I'm doing. For every evil deed allows me to do 2 good deeds, I guess I'm going to keep doing more evil because there's more good that comes of it, right? That's what Saruman said in the Lord of the Rings, right? He said he deplores evils done along the way in order to serve a greater purpose, imposing order on the world. It doesn't work, right? The world has to incentivize evil, at least marginally so that people can choose, despite the incentives, to do good. I hope that makes sense to you. And if it doesn't, then it doesn't. Or if you disagree, that's fine too. That's just my opinion on it. You make of that what you will. Thanks for watching. It quits there. I got one more addition to make to the video, and that is, I would say that perhaps the only truly righteous people in our civilization, I'm talking about America, right? Could be Canada, could be Western Europe, things we're connected with, are the homeless people. I'm not saying all homeless people. Right? There's some people who are self-destructive and end up homeless. There's some people who are just out of their mind, their brains don't work right, and they're homeless. I'm talking about people who, looking at the world around them and see that there is no morally acceptable decision to participate in this or in that, and the only thing left to do is to drop out and just live off the fringes, live off the flotsam of civilization, scavenging the trash, accepting alms, doing odd jobs, a little barter this and a little that. Those are the people who have said to this world, I don't want anything of it. I mean, I have to live in it. They might say they have to live in it, but they don't have to be of it. And in so doing, end up homeless. End up, living in the woods or under a bridge or whatever. Still, those people, still giving to others, still being righteous towards others, the type who, you hear about the homeless people who, they get something to eat and they feed their dog or their cat first before they eat. That's the kind of love and goodness I'm talking about. The type of people who might, if the climate allows it, give someone literally the shirt off their back and then go about trying to find another shirt. Okay, this world incentivizes the immoral manipulation of the universe around you. And then those who choose righteousness have to take a loss sometimes. And the ultimate choice might be to continually take a loss because there's no other moral alternative. And those are the people who are choosing to ascend spiritually. They're letting go of this world and everything in it to become something greater. Thanks for watching.